this is kind of like my grail lens, but this is a 500. This is a 500mm f4 lens. It's got a screw-on lens hood. This is quite heavy, this one. This is the old technology. It's still, I think, around about 2004, 5, 6, something. It was around about there, 2007, 8. There's quite a variety of years, isn't it? But around about that time, Nikon introduced the nano coating on their lenses, and they brought out a 200 f2, which I had at one time. I sold that one. I partly wish that I hadn't. It would have been good to have kept that now, but I sold my old. I needed a bit of money back then. And there were some things that I just didn't want. I just, I kind of got this before the prices went whoosh. And there were some things that I just didn't want to sell. So I didn't want to sell this one. But I did end up selling my 70 to 200 2.8. And I already had the 200 f2. And kind of stupidly, I kind of missed the 70 to 200 2.8. And I knew they changed it to the fluoride coating. So I ended up selling the 200 f2, buying that 70 to 200, which you just saw. And as I've said in previous videos, to be fair, I was doing a lot of photography in the early 2000s. 2010 happened. It's a different story, but anyway, and I just didn't really pick up a camera so much after that. But it's something that, hopefully will return. And I haven't got rid of all my kit. We're upgrading a few bits, so we'll kind of see what happens. But basically, this is a 500mm f4 lens, obviously constant aperture all the way through. My understanding, when Nikon brought out their big lenses like this one back in the day, the 200 f2 was the sharpest. That was like the pinnacle of what they did. And I believe the 400 2.8 and the 600 f4, they were also pretty much like the absolute sharpest lenses that Nikon did in that type of lineup thing. And they did a 300 2.8 as well, I believe. I was never interested in the 300. I didn't see the point of 300. I got interrupted mid-sentence, yeah. And the 400 2.8 was ridiculously expensive, and I already had 200 to 400 f4. 600 f4 was just too big. This just seemed a sweet spot. I've switched over the bottom bracket here for a Kirk bracket, so then that fits on a Arca Swiss type of mount on a tripod or something like that. I've got a couple of options for mounting it, including a Wimberley, which I got donkeys ago as well. And then you've got lots of controls on the side. There's a musical one, which I don't know what that means, so it's like a buzzer or a beep or something, I don't know. You've got AFL, memory recall, and autofocus on, so I've just got that on the autofocus on. You can adjust the vibration reduction on here, so I've got it on normal. But if you're on a tripod, there is a little switch here that you can switch across to tripod, to try to remember. You can obviously limit the focus to full or from 8 meters to infinity. And then you've got autofocus manual. manual focus auto, which I didn't quite get that one, and manual focus. We'll keep that on auto focus. You can override obviously the focus with that. These are just grips. There's nothing there moves. You can't adjust the aperture with it. It's obviously, you know, a fixed aperture on that. You get, I think there's an internal filter here, which I've never used, but there's an internal filter pocket there. There's a memory set button here, which is probably equivalent to like a function button on the newer lenses, and then you've got 4 buttons, which maybe is equivalent to a function 1 on the newer lenses, and there's 4 of them around the front of the lens there. Obviously it's an F mount lens, so it'll only fit on the D4 that I've got and the D850 that I've got, and obviously would have fitted on my D750 back in the day when I had that